I'm Sarah, and today I shall be discussing and reviewing the Insurgent movie with my sister Julie.
Hello.
You always have to hesitate and then say hello.
Sorry, I wasn't sure.
If you have not seen the movie yet, you will be spoiled because we're going to be talking about everything that happened in the movie. So if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want to be spoiled, then go leave and then go watch it and then come back and then, yeah, goodbye. Goodbye. Disappear. Julie, you need to disappear. Okay.
That was really awkward.
Sorry. Okay, let's get down to business.
Should we talk about what we like first?
No, because it's hard to remember what I like.
I know
with
what I
that ending.
For one thing, I really like the setting.
The animation was not as good as I thought it was going to be. Like the weird snake cords and the ravens coming from the trees. I'm like, no. But I liked Amity. They were cool.
I like the beginning a lot. I love the scene where Tobias is playing with the little kids.
Oh my gosh.
That was so cute.
We went with a bunch of our friends. It was a huge group of us. And when that part came on, we were all just like, I jumped when she cut her hair. Like, no, I knew it was coming, but still. In the trailer, her hair looked really bleached.
It did.
But it looked better in the movie. For some reason, when I read the book, I didn't really care about Caleb much. Like, I didn't hate him or anything. And then Peter, I hate him. But the movie...
Peter was so funny. Oh my gosh.
Loved Peter so much and then hated Caleb.
Hey, look, a rainbow. Oh! It went really fast.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly they were just attacking Amity, and it's like, okay, that happened in, like, what, the 14th chapter? Something like that.
Yeah. I stand by my belief that if Insurgent had been split into 2 parts and then Allegiant one, just one movie, that would have been a lot better. One, because you still would have made the same, like, it still would have been a lot of money because you're making 4 instead of 3 movies. 4. I got distracted. But there's so much in Insurgent. I can hardly remember what happened in what book, and to an extent. Not much happened in Allegiant that would be interesting in a movie, so that's why I think that should be 1 movie.
Yeah.
But what would I know? I'm just the person paying for the movie. I hate Eric.
Nobody likes him.
I'm so, like...
He's one of those characters that everybody hates.
I did not pity him when he was killed. It's different, partially because I know it's fictional, and just because people are dying a lot. If you had to pick somebody to die, he's not a bad choice. With that little girl.
Oh my gosh, in Candor, Triss was holding a gun.
I was so mad. I saw it in the trailer, and every time she picked up a gun, I'm like, Triss, put the gun down. No. Put the gun down. It was so annoying in the book. That's the thing about the movie. I wouldn't have minded the changes so much if it hadn't conflicted with the characters' motivations and their identities. Janine's motivation for doing what she did was completely different in the movie. I don't even know what it was in the movie.
Yeah.
But in the book, it was because of the message.
If we weren't judging this from the book, then this probably would be a pretty good movie.
Some of it was a bit cliche. The foreign Triss thing I didn't like at all. Oh, you're about to die? Okay. Do that then. It was it was a little bit more awkward without music.
Yeah. No, it's like, where's the music? It's so awkward.
Where's the romantic music? I loved how they actually incorporated all the characters that they left out of the first movie. I didn't expect that, and I was so happy. As soon as Uriah came onto the stage, I'm like,
Uriah was in the first movie, though.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was, although he just wasn't, like...
He might have been in the background,
It just didn't... He was, but they just didn't say, oh, hey,
have you been on the internet?
How did you imagine when they were given the truth serum? How did you imagine that scene? I imagined it completely different. Mirrors.
It's like, I didn't understand those mirrors. I'm like, what is that? What is that? Is it a screen? Is it a window? I imagined it like the top of the building or like maybe a balcony on it with like stone pillars and then a roof. So they'd be outside and it'd be like, I guess kind of chilly because it's like nighttime and stuff. Not like a closed space where I think important people would have a press conference and eat sushi.
Sushi.
I don't know.
Although the way I imagined it was like they're in this big, huge white room, and there's a single chair, like, pretty far back, and then there's this, like, little table, I guess, where the important people are talking. the person who's being, I guess, judged is in the chair, and then everybody else is just behind, just standing there.
The technology confused me. Like,
In Amity,
why are you laughing
with
so
the
hard?
horse. In Amity, when the horse-drawn carriage is like the tractors in the back. It's like what?
Your sentence is like what? The people in Amity with their hats and the horse and the cart. I started laughing hysterically, and my friend sitting next to me was just laughing at me. She's like, "What are you doing? What's wrong with you? Do you need help?"
I imagined Tobias's mom a lot younger than she was in the movie.
Jesse was saying
She was so pretty in the movie. Although I imagined her like in Mockingjay, the part 1, the President Coin. I imagined Tobias's mom like that. That's how I imagined her actually.
Yeah. I imagined her like in her 40s or so. And
That lady looked in her 20s.
like she could be like a really young aunt or a sister. It was funny when she was saying that when she left him, she's like, "I was young." And my friend behind me was like, "Yeah, you were 8. You're not supposed to be 25. If you really look at her and picture her as an older, not an old person, just older than she was, you could sort of see it. There's so many adult characters in all of our fandom movies that I just pictured older. President Coin I pictured a bit older, and not with her hair down like that, like up in a bun. I never get to finish what I was saying about the technology. It's all your fault.
Sorry.
That's your
The
fault.
technology. What were you saying about it?
The technology confused me because it's in the future, so the technology has advanced a lot, but at the same time, everything is just kind of like old and decrepit. It's weird to wrap my head around. I don't know how I felt about like the screens with the dots.
Oh, that was weird.
An abundance of dots.
It made me feel uncomfortable.
Dots. And more dots. It's a thing within a thing. Janine was saying that the Divergents were the ones that were like attacking the Abnegation. Plot twist. Literally, the screens are there as the trucks ship Abnegation out.
The whole scene with, like, when Triss is trying to unlock the box, the weird box.
I don't know
How did you imagine it? That whole scene was just off.
What do you mean, how did I imagine it? The box wasn't in the book!
Yeah, well, I wasn't talking about the box in general, I meant the scene.
I pictured all of that serum stuff and testing, like, do you remember in the first Hunger Games movie, like when they're making Katniss pretty?
Yeah, like the
and
cold
stuff?
table.
Yeah, like the metal table with a tray of syringes and stuff, like a bunch of tables everywhere, and then a bunch of scientists, and she's like strapped down and stuff. That's how I pictured
I imagined
it.
it the same way.
I guess that's how it was described. I don't really know how I feel about the box. I don't really care much about it. It just changed Janine's motivation, and I didn't like that. Janine's initial motivation was to get rid of Divergence because she didn't want the faction system to collapse and to change. There seemed to be that in there, but it wasn't the same. Triss and Four and the factionless place, like, that was just not cool. Normally I enjoy it when my ship, one of my OTPs, is like having a moment. Well, there's no comfortable way for me to say this in front of my sister. I was just so angry. I'm like, no, it's a big thing for her to overcome that because she's on negation. They had it in the first movie, like her fear was, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
My friend leaned over to me during that scene and whispered, "Looks like she's getting over her 7th fear." I was like,
A book too soon. Did I say that I'm enraged?
I'm so angry. You already know I'm in the...
I lost it.
yep. It was so confusing when, like, if you knew when Triss was under a serum and when not. Like, this was a lot more confusing than the book. I guess it was kind of supposed to do that, to leave you in suspense, although when she wasn't, it was really hard to
You
tell.
mean when she was unlocking the box or when she had the nightmares?
Maybe both, because it was hard to tell if she was in a dream or not. Like, it takes you a second to realize it.
Most of the time when something really weird and kind of creepy happened, I suspected it was a nightmare. There were so many things in the movie that I missed. Like in Candor, as Triss was being handcuffed and let out by Eric and Max. And then all of a sudden Four comes and he starts like dragging Eric back into the other room before he shoots him. All the other people around him looked exactly the same. The Dauntless refugees and the erudite Dauntless army, they looked exactly the same, so I thought it was the same, they were the same people, and I'm like, Why are you just standing there? The general is being dragged across the floor, punched, shot. What is happening? Triss was in the simulation, the Amity one, and she was falling. In my head, I was like,
Free falling.
I forgot that Uriah was Divergent.
You did?
Yeah, I feel like I half remembered, but I wasn't entirely sure. I'm like, oh, he died. Okay, then she didn't stab him with a knife, and that was kind of disappointing. Some of the Candor outfits were interesting. They were cool.
Yeah.
Like, there was like Vogue. That ending.
Oh my gosh. That's awful.
I was like saying no under my breath, but as soon as the credits turned on, the music cranked up. No! Wrong! I was just marching around the theater like, and I was stomping, and I was just, ugh. I was so mad. I started crying. I was so angry. Let's all go together and escape and run off past the wall
to Neverland.
into the distance Neverland. What is this? This is not a cheesy dystopian movie. This is real. The end of Insurgent in the book was so incredibly intense and just like had so many new character revelations and stuff, and there wasn't as much tension between Triss and Four. There wasn't that annoying, why aren't you getting along? Get over your issues.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna fight at one point because that was a really big part in Insurgent.
Like,
although they didn't at all. They were like, okay, we're a good, happy couple, like all OTPs and movies.
what was her name? Wasn't her name Maggie Pryor, the woman in the video, in the message? I don't know why her last name would be Pryor, because Andrew Pryor must have been her descendant, and so I'm just like, how did her name get passed on? Just with the overhead shots, animation, and like all of them leaving their buildings and factions and stuff, and all like walking towards the wall, and the doors opening. I'm like, okay, so that's like half of the action scenes in Allegiant. There's two. There's the beginning and the end. That is it. And you just took away one of the action scenes in Allegiant. What are you doing? Are you gonna make the third one? Honestly, you could have just had an epilogue there and it would have been done. That was a resolution. That wasn't a cliffhanger. No. That didn't make me want to see the next one. Like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen to the characters? What's gonna go next? Because there wasn't enough mystery of what's behind the wall. Not just because I already know what's behind the wall. What's gonna happen in the next one?
Tristan, Tobias, are they gonna move to China and get married?
Hold on, let's rephrase that.
Okay, yeah.
So, rewind, so no spoilers for Allegiant. Rewind! We're gonna go back in time. Is that thing, that really devastating plot twist at the end of Allegiant, is that going to happen? I don't see how they can stay true to the book and still have it interesting. The train, I don't remember that happening.
Was that in the book? No, they didn't fight on the train.
They just got on the train and they're like, okay, let's fight now. And then they just killed a bunch of people. I forgot his name because I'm just thinking Ansel Igor. Caleb, he's went to the other train by himself, and then he killed somebody with the pole, and then he stood there as his sister was strangled, and then 20 million more factionless came. I'm like, well, that was a waste of your time. You could have just jumped off the train. And then, oh my gosh, there's a knife. Whoa. The main leader guy, whoever he was, who was kind of annoying me, it looked like a nail filer to me. It did. Oh my gosh, it's a knife. Okay, I'm Tobias Eaton. Yeah. See, we're not gonna fight anymore. What the heck? You skipped the end and you added another action scene that was completely pointless and didn't advance the plot whatsoever. It literally just killed people. Maybe Four and Triss are going to move to China and get married. Invite Janine over for tea. Evelyn shoots Janine, and I could hardly believe it happened because it was just so sudden, but it didn't seem that important in a weird way. It was really creepy when Evelyn was sitting at the bed with Triss and Tobias. I didn't see Tobias at first. I'm like, she has quite a few arms there. And then I noticed that she had Four's arm. Like, what are you doing?
She has quite a few arms.
She's an abundance of arms. Many limbs. That's why she's Spider Triss.
Spider Triss. I was thinking Tarzan during that scene.
Okay, so you're watching your son sleep with a girl you've never met.
That part kind of freaked me out a little bit when it was suddenly Will, I think, who was there.
Yo, all of a sudden she's sleeping with Will and and then she started getting closer. My friend behind me was just like, no, don't get closer, you creepy. It's terrifying, what are you doing? And I couldn't help but think of Twilight. Reading the book, it's not weird, but when you have to say it out loud, it is weird. This was not like that. I was kind of relieved it was a nightmare, because
Although that was one of the nightmares that was really hard to tell if it was or wasn't.
And something I noticed that happens in a lot of movies, so while they're walking, like they're on their way to Kinder, and then, oh my gosh, I keep wanting to call him Ansel. My goodness, Caleb. He's just like, you know, I'm not gonna go with you guys. Like,
You're already halfway there.
yeah, I'm like, you're already traveling with them. Couldn't you have said that when you first left? Let's go an hour away from the faction list. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you that I'm not gonna go with you.
Who's this?
He was so annoying. I'm gonna go help the abnegation. She's like, there is no abnegation. They're all gone. Do you remember that thing that happened a few like days ago?
I did hate him in this movie because when he's like slowly started to tear up when they thought that his sister was dead, I was like, yeah, you better cry. You cry right now.
You cry, man. You cry.
Or else I'll be mad.
When he was talking to Triss, her cell was bigger than I expected.
Her what?
I'm like, that's a nice prison cell. She had
Oh.
like a whole long room full of benches and then like a cot. I mean, I know you're in prison and you're being tested on and kind of tortured, but you know, that's a very spacious area. He was saying how, isn't it like, I don't think they'd be mad at me. Isn't it more selfless to sacrifice my only living family member for the greater good? And it's like, how do I explain this to dumb?
What I'm starting to think now is like one, in my point of view, major difference in the end of the book and the movie. There was a lot of them, but for one thing, in the book they made it clear that Janini, she was...
You said Janini?
Yeah, I do. That's how I pronounced her name for so long.
Janini?
Janini. That's how I said her name.
Janine.
How do you say her name?
Janine.
Janine, okay.
That's how everybody says her name.
I didn't, and I kept forgetting how they said it. Be quiet.
An extra 3 letters.
They made it clear that her theory, like what she was thinking of, was correct and it was right compared to what Evelyn was thinking of. Although in the movie they didn't make that clear. I don't think they even showed it. I think they were just trying to say that
I don't really
Janine was the antagonist.
I don't remember why I was kind of against Evelyn. She wasn't drunk with power, but she was drunk with revenge, I guess.
It was an allegiance that made me not like her.
Just like how I think Mockingjay Part 2 will make me not like Coin because I hated her. After seeing the movie, I'm like, I really like her. I don't remember why I dislike her so much. I keep referencing the Hunger Games. I should.
Yeah, we keep doing that.
The thing with irony, I laughed. Like,
yeah.
I feel you're such anger now, and you have to pass the amity simulation. Like, the end just... It's based off of the novel Insurgent by Veronica Roth. You shouldn't even put it there because you kind of messed up. It was so cheesy.
Oh yeah, we're all safe. Let's go past the wall. Yay!
We're all in this together, guys.
All in this together. You're gonna run right.
I know I am.
At the end of the book, it was so intense, and Tori, just her character was so interesting, and
They barely even mentioned Tori.
yeah, where was she? She's awesome. She's one of my favorite characters. I like the leader of Candor. I don't know why. I just really liked him. My only real problem with the casting was maybe Four's mom. It's not that she did a bad job.
She was
or anything. It's just
she was pretty.
it's part of the acting thing. If you don't look the part, no matter how well you do it, it's kind of difficult to still be there. She just looked too young. Christina, she was supposed to like tower over Triss.
This has to do with the first movie too, but
yeah,
she was short.
But it's like I really noticed it when they reunited. I love that scene. That was like, oh, you're about to ruin your friendship. It just looks so small compared to Triss, and Triss was like, ugh. How did you think the truth serum looked? Did it look like she was able to fight it? It didn't really make that clear that she could fight that serum. It wasn't having an effect on her. I liked where they were sleeping in the movie more than the book. I did like that change because in the book it seemed in Amity it seemed like they all had their own rooms down.
They did.
Yeah, they all had their own like little quarter, but instead they were sort of outside, like being on hammocks and stuff. I thought that was a bit more realistic because it's just adding a bunch of new people into your faction. They said her saving Peter was abnegation. It kind of felt like Amity. That's how it was set up in the beginning when Joanna was talking about Triss forgiving herself. It seemed to change his motivation because before he seemed like he just cared. I still think that he just cared about himself, even in the book. I feel like he had the intention of saving her earlier, or started like, I don't even know, flaking off. It was so slow. It took a long time. Peter added a lot of good humor. Hey, do you want to do the thing? And it was like, before it was like, ninja fight moves. I feel like they did that in every movie. Like every single fight scene that happens, and it's just so funny. When Triss attacked Peter. Like they were doing the knife thing. It was so weird. It was like Kung Fu Panda with like the bowls. And that is the end of our review. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts on Insurgent. How did you feel about the end? Was it an okay adaptation of the book? What do you think? And please subscribe to my channel to see more of my videos. That is the end of the video. Goodbye. Scatter. I did that. Behind.
It's getting crazy over here.
So crazy right now. I almost said Cinder. I meant to say Triss.
Getting hot in here.
So keep on all your clothes. Hello, my name is Sarah. We shall be discussing these. I don't even know what I was saying. I'm so tired.
Nationwide is on your side.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
They went back to Amity. Amity. Why do I keep saying that? Abnegation.